This is Julie Hogue of Vegetarians and Meat Lovers Split Table Recipes podcast. I podcast about food, recipes. We all need food, right? We all need recipes. And my family happens to be a split table family, which means some of us are meat eaters and some of us are vegetarian. I am the vegetarian. And ironically, my oldest son is dating a vegetarian. I didn't see that one coming. But anyway, so when we have meals together, now I have to make a little bit more of the vegetarian section when she eats with us. And I just think it's super important to try and make food where you're not being a short order cook, right? Like I've done that. Sometimes I have to do that. But if there's a way you can do it where you can make a meal hybrid. I coined this term many years ago. I don't know. I think I made my cookbook in 2017. Or was it 2019? Oh, geez, I can't remember. Who cares, right? Anyway, I coined this term hybrid recipes because it's the way of my life. You know, I've cooked this way since I was a teenager. It's just been my way of life. So it's really not that hard. People are always like, oh, what am I going to feed you? What am I going to feed you? It's not that hard. You just have to be mindful where you put things. Now, this recipe I did get online and I modified it. Unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to write down the person's name, so I can't credit them. But I did take their recipe and I did modify it, which is something I often do when I'm going to try and make it a hybrid recipe. And it's actually a good way to do it because it already contains meat, right? And so my meat eaters in my family, that part's already covered. Then I modify it for how is it going to work for me as a vegetarian. And this is 4 corners burrito bowls. So I'm calling this hybrid recipe 4 corners burrito bowls. And this is going to be chicken and vegetarian. So the vegetarian portion means it uses beans. So black beans is the part that makes it that way. But what was really amazing about this recipe was the way the chicken was done. My husband is like obsessed with this now because we doubled the marinade because I don't know if we had really big chicken breasts or what, but it really wasn't enough. So we took the marinade, which is 6 tablespoons of taco seasoning. We used 2 packets of mild taco seasoning and then 2 limes, the juice from 2 limes, and 1/2 cup of olive oil. And we mix that all up and then you put it on the chicken and we let it marinate for a while. I think we did like at least 2 hours. I think the more the better. But the reason I think that this makes a difference is you have to pound the chicken, right? You have to get one of those mallets out and you have to pound the crap out of it. And I'm like, no, as a vegetarian, I am not pounding meat. Ew, no, thank you. So my husband took care of that part. Which is good because I don't even like to touch the meat. There ain't no way I'm going to pound it into something flat with the mallet. No, thank you. So he took care of that part. And then we marinated it. And it's not like a juicy marinade. It's very kind of sparse. So we had to smear it all over it on both sides and then let it sit. So it's not one that sits in this juicy marinade, which was amazing because my husband said it was the best marinade ever. And it wasn't super juicy. I always think of a marinade as super juicy. That's going to make the meat super juicy, right? I don't eat meat. I don't know. This has just been my experience. But this one is not juicy. It's pasty, if anything. It's pasty. And I'm first we did it and I'm this isn't enough. So then I doubled it. So that's why I have the doubled. From the original recipe, it is doubled. Okay. And then we'll move on to the cilantro lime rice, which is 2 cups rice, 2 tablespoons butter, 2 teaspoons salt, 1 lime, and 2/3 cup fresh cilantro. And obviously you're going to cook the rice the way the normal you would cook it. And then I use a minute rice. And then you're going to add the butter, salt, lime juice, and the fresh cilantro. And then you stir that all up and hey, that's done. All right, now the reason I call this 4 corners is because we have these lovely bowls that are squarish, but you could do this on a plate you can make corners on a circle. It's not that hard, right? Anybody can do that. That's not hard. So the 4 corners are 1 corner is sour cream, like a big tablespoon of sour cream. Then 1 is guacamole. 1 is roasted red pepper hummus, and then queso. So you put all 4 of these if you have a lovely square one, like we do, square bowls, you can do the four corners for real, but it works on a plate. It works on a regular plate. And what I love about it is you have these on the side so you can like scoop it into your food whenever you want. Okay, so what are the bowl ingredients, right? You need to know this. Chopped romaine or iceberg or green leaf. Well, I kind of used a combo of that actually. So what you really need is just focus on 1 cup of lettuce and chopped up, and 1/2 cup diced red pepper, 1/2 cup diced red onion. Again, why do we call it a red onion? It's purple. It's purple. It's really purple, people. And 3/4 cup black beans. I upped that because I wanted more vegetarian options and more beans, and more beans are good. And then 1/4 cup scallions chopped. Now your four corners again are sour cream, queso, guacamole, and we also had salsa. So that was something that people could add on top if they wanted. But again, your four corners are the sour cream, guacamole, hummus, and queso. And then you can have, if you want to have 5 corners, you can't have 5 corners on a square, but you can figure it out. You just put it with one of the other ones. So you can do that. And so, okay, we've got the rice already made, right? We've got all these ingredients, and you're going to grill that chicken. Now, I'm not the griller in our family because I cook meat, but I don't grill meat. My husband loves to grill. So that was his forte. So just grill meat like you normally would. Grill chicken the way you normally would. He just took it right out of the marinade container and just plopped it on the grill, right? Like there wasn't anything else to do. You just cook it. And he said it turned out really super juicy and it was just really, really good. He really liked it. He's like, I would use this marinade just for chicken without even doing these bowls. Although we loved the bowls. We did love the bowls. All of us did. Okay, so, I'm seeing my notes and I lied. Uh-oh. I should have looked ahead. We marinated it for 3 hours, not 2. I get down to my little description here and it's 3 hours. We marinated it for 3 hours. But I'm sure 2 would be just as good. Just whatever. That's just what we did. And then I did note that he did grill it, and I don't know, just grilled chicken the way you normally grill chicken, I guess. I don't. And then you build your bowls. Like that's it, right? You have all your little ingredients and little cups and bowls all along your counter or your table or wherever you're going to do it. And then the other thing you need, I forgot to say, is 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And we used the roasted red pepper hummus. I just liked that with the whole burrito kind of theme. And so that's what we did. And I'm really been into these bowls lately. I don't know. I'm digging it. They've been around for a long time. They became really popular, but we haven't done many at home, but now we keep doing them. They're I'm a little bit obsessed with them. But the thing I love about them is they work so well for a hybrid meal, right? When you build your own, any kind of build your own plate, build your own whatever, build your own burrito, build your own wrap, whatever. You can so easily customize it, right? So people want chicken, they just pile chicken on their bowl. They don't want no chicken like me, then you just skip the chicken and you move on. There's just so many options, right? And this is just really good. And it's simple. What I like about it is it's not super complex. It's pretty straightforward and it's pretty easy. I mean, even the marinade is like, 3 ingredients: limes, olive oil, and taco seasoning packets. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? The cilantro lime rice, butter, salt, limes, fresh cilantro. Easy. And then you're just chopping stuff up. Your beans are already beans. You don't do anything but heat them up, right? You got to chop up your lettuce. You got to chop up your red pepper, your onion. And, I think I might have forgot to mention this. I think my eyes skimmed past it. 1/2 cup sweet corn we also had. I'll put all the ingredients down in the podcast show notes so you're not so confused and you can easily reference it. You know what's so funny about this podcast? Now, like when I make my foods and I can't find my recipe, I go to my podcast. I've done this on my website too. We're like, okay, I cannot find this recipe for the life of me. Hey, I put that on my podcast. And I will go to my own podcast and I will look up my own recipe so I have it all right there. So I'm like, this is what I like. I think other people must like it too. To have the actual recipe in the podcast show notes, because you may not want to listen to me jabber every single time, right? Like to get to all the ingredients. No. Hey, maybe it's fun to listen once, but you're not going to keep re-listening to me, right? You wanted something new when you were going to listen to me. So if we put the ingredient, this is why I like to put the recipes down in the podcast show notes is my point, is that you can easily reference it and say you want to make them again. You're like, I don't even want to write this down. I don't want to keep it. anywhere, I want to keep it digital, you can just go back to that podcast episode and look up the recipe. Like easy peasy, baby. It's super easy. Well, I'm super excited that you're all listening to my podcast and enjoying it because I love to share, and I love to share good food, right? Good recipes for people. And I guess as always, I end up talking about my family, right? My son is in marching band, and it's been so interesting to watch this. It's almost done, but they have next week. They have a few more things, but it's been so interesting to see him get into this. It's just he's our only kid that got into marching band of the three, but he's into a lot more activities than the other two. The other two sadly got their high school experience really, really cut into with the whole COVID isolation thing and the school from home and distance learning and all that. So they really lost a big chunk of their high school experience, which I find very sad. But my youngest is getting the full experience and he is doing it to the max. Like he's also a soccer player. He went to the varsity game last night and we get marching band and they're having so much fun. We went to the homecoming game last weekend and they did marching band. And they get to play during the game, like when the good thing happens, they get to do a little spiel of song. They went on the field on halftime and did a whole marching thing. And my son was so funny. He's like, I totally screwed up. I'm like, we can't notice that. He goes, I dropped my music. I had to pick it up. I said, honey, there's so many people on the field. There's probably hardly anybody that noticed that you had to bend over and pick up your dropped music, right? Like, that's just not a thing. But we all think that. Like, everybody's looking at us, like, everybody's analyzing exactly what we're doing. But no, there's probably, like, I don't know, 60, 70 kids on the field. We don't see all those specific things. And we don't even know if they mess up. They did this really cool thing, though. They, like, made this inner circle and outer circle of marching kids while they're playing, which I think is also a talent, to be able to march in the right way and do it in tune and also be coordinated to do it. And play music. I mean, that's a lot going on, baby. So, but it was really cool. They were like, there was an outer ring and an inner ring, and they were like going opposite ways. So it looked really cool. So they did do some like designs. They did some letters, with their bodies. So it was cool. It was cool. He's sad that it's almost done, and soccer just ended. So, guess we're moving on to the next thing. Oh, this. Okay, so my oldest son. Right? He's 22 and his girlfriend, the vegetarian one, they went skydiving last Friday. Oh my gosh. I was like on pins and needles because I do not like heights and I am not jumping out of a plane ever. They're like all trying to convince me. I'm like, no. I don't like when I fall off a step going down the stairs. I am not falling from a plane. But they did it and they loved it and more power to them. But it isn't going to be me, baby. It isn't going to be me. But more power to him. So those are some crazy things going on in my life. And my middle son, can't leave him out. He is working at Pine Haven doing the monster thing. He's in the war zone area. So he's got like a gas mask on and he's like been melted by a bomb or something. So he's really been having a lot of fun doing that. And he really does a good job at it. I wish he could do that job year round. So if you like Halloween kind of stuff, fiction, scary stuff, then check that out. It's a really fun thing. Well, thank you so much for listening to this. I've had a fun jabbering at you again. Again, I'm coming from Minnesota, from the Midwest. A vegetarian in the Midwest is kind of an odd thing. I've always said, geez, I should have been living on one of the coasts. Right? Like I just don't fit in farmland, middle America, being a vegetarian. But it's more common now to be a vegetarian than when I was younger. I was like some kind of weirdo. There weren't very many vegetarians. I didn't meet very many. It was all like meat eaters, right? Like, and I was this odd person out that like people just didn't know what to do with me. And I'm like, now vegetarian people are like more mainstream. There's so many more options. At the diet options of the world, not meaning going on a diet, I mean a diet that you eat, is so much higher now. It's not as unusual to be vegan. There's, gluten-free products. People are paying attention to that and offering that for people who deal with that, which has got to be a whole other bear to deal with, right? So the world is different in the food that is offered than when I was a kid. My mom would struggle like what to feed me. I remember so many times I still did dairy. I still do. I would drink milk, and I'd want more milk during the meal. And my dad would be like, oh, he was like ornate. He's like, she needs to eat meat. I'm like, I'm not eating meat, Dad. Get over it. But I would have more milk. And my mom would always be like, she would shush him and be like, no, just let her have it. Like, don't comment on it, because it was protein, right? It was protein for me growing, and that's important. So when you do have a child who's a vegetarian, I got to say the world is much easier to be a vegetarian now than when I was growing up. So yay world for paying attention to that and offering that and paying attention to people's diets more and what they need and their needs and their wants and their desires and what they're willing to eat. All that jazz, Yeah. So yay to the world and yay to the options. And if you can take so many recipes like I do. I often, like I said, I like to take the meat recipes and then I modify them to make them somehow vegetarian. So I'm just making one meal, right? Like this is a perfect example. This hybrid recipe, 4 corners burrito bowls, is a perfect recipe for that. You make your meats and you just don't take it if you want it to be vegetarian. You can beef up the cheese. You could beef up the beans. You could add in different kinds of beans, pinto beans. You could add in chickpeas. There's so many options, right? Like there's things you could do. You could add in nuts if you wanted. That might be, I don't know if I would like that or not. Maybe peanuts, maybe, not sure. But I like the beans idea better for burrito, Mexican type meals. I tend to like to put the nuts more with like Asian. So like when recently we made another bowl. We made another bowl. It was salmon bowls. And I wanted to add some more protein for myself, so I added cashews, right? Well, everybody likes cashews in my family, so everybody was adding cashews to their bowl. So it was a great addition. These are easy things to do. You can just add things on the side, to add more protein in. It's really not that hard. People can do it. It's doable. Don't freak out about it. Because I used to have people that freak out and be like, what am I going to feed you? What am I going to feed you? And I would say, well, you're going to have multiple things, right? You don't freak out if someone doesn't eat lettuce or salad, right? So don't freak out if I don't take one part of the meal, right? You might have people out there who aren't going to take salad. You don't freak out about them. Like, oh my gosh, what are they going to eat, right? It's a whole protein thing. People worry about protein. But if I have a low protein meal, I just fix it the next time around, or I have some protein when I get home. So there's no worry. People are worrying needlessly, and it's silly. We eat a varied diet. We eat multiple meals a day. If we have a low protein meal, we just compensate for it in another meal. Hey, or a snack, grab a snack of nuts. There's the easy fix. Anyway, well, thank you so much for listening to this, and I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I enjoy sharing with you. And have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful meal. Whatever meal you're about to eat, I hope it goes good and it's super yummy. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye now. Oh, and one last thing, fan mail. Someone from Atlanta, Georgia gave me fan mail. Thank you so much. I loved your message. It was wonderful. I loved it. The thing is, I cannot respond. They created this great thing and I love to hear from people, but they don't have a way for me to respond to you. So I'm doing it in this episode and I hope you hear it and I hope you notice that I did it. Thank you so much. It really was awesome to read and I loved the fan mail. Thank you. Person from Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, they put their name. Amy. Thank you, Amy. So wonderful. Thank you. I've loved hearing from you.